And I'm back. Thank you for your patience. Let us begin with the first of 4 phases of mindful crease counting. Over the span of 12 inhalations, we could advance our right thumb in the following manner, beginning with the little finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We can multiply this by 8 with the help of our left hand to count sets of 12. First, second set of 12 repetitions, 12 inhalations. Third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth set of 12 inhalations each. We keep track of this first of 4 phases by resting the great knuckle of the base of our right little finger upon the tip of our left little finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so gently invites our real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce in the bladder region of our lower abdomen. Yes, this could seem more than a trifle complex, but remember, repetition is the mother of skill. Come to these live streams daily, and within a week or two, you could master the Buddha's Eightfold Path. Let's deconstruct the lie that enlightenment is for the very few. What if enlightenment was simply mastery of the Buddha's Eightfold Path? But what do we mean by mastery? No infant is born knowing how to use the toilet or brush their teeth or tie their shoes or ride a bike. And yet, virtually every child, by the time they enter first grade, can do all of those things quite well. So well that they perform them spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively. We too can get so good at the Buddha's Eightfold Path that we practice it in that manner. The reason we can learn it is because all we really have to learn is the 7th fold, which is mindfulness, and the 8th fold, which is meditation. Get good at these 2 things, and everything else takes place during autopilot or on autopilot. So I do look forward to... So let's view mindfulness and meditation through the lens of neuroscience after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I've spent about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that you would not have to. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. Oh, won't you please chant with me? The nudity of the archetypical couple sporting in tantric union reminds us of the vulnerability so crucial to mindfulness. Sturgeon's Law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks, particularly since the advent of the Neolithic Revolution. The majority of humans are so rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel that they actively denigrate the minority who follow in the Buddha's footsteps and enthusiastically strive to be flexible, loving, rational, laid back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. So when these rigid and controlling people become meditation teachers, what is their typical advice to their students? Typically, they advise their students to actively focus and actively analyze. And although they might use a host of synonyms for these terms, some of them from different languages, It all comes down to those two things, focus and analysis. The brain is a funny thing. The only neural pathways capable of those tasks are those found in discrete regions such as the medial or dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. Overwork this region, and we could trigger our amygdala, the almond-shaped organ that is the seat of anxiety and aggression, which are the opposite goals most of us want for meditation. Most of us don't want to be more anxious and aggressive. We want to be more peaceful and loving, don't we? So here's some good news. Our central nervous system is comprised of more than just our amygdala and our prefrontal cortex. Let's start with mindfulness. Every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, we have already evolved in such a way as to automatically access the sympathetic nervous system found in the middle third of our spinal cord. This sympathetic nervous system has evolved to help us to notice in a very special way. It has evolved to help us notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. But what? What are we supposed to notice? Mind's antics of perception. You know, seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, smelling, and the like, including emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. Now that's a whole lot of stuff going on. Is there an easy way to do this, perhaps even on autopilot? Yes. Silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during your inhalation, and you will automatically induce your cerebral cortex to cooperate with your parasympathetic nervous system. But the question remains, what are we to do with all this stuff that we notice? After all, it could be a trifle overwhelming. Noticing the external and the internal, the physical and the mental, the pleasurable and the painful, the interesting and the boring, the glorious and the grotesque. So yes, there's an easy way to deal with this. When we silently and mentally recite the... Let me go back a step. When we relax in harmony with our exhalation, we can release what we noticed during our previous inhalation to such a degree that what we noticed could feel literally impermanent and figuratively as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Now, what's a real-world example of a non-graspable vast empty void? How about the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although is tantalizing to the eye, is quite non-graspable to the hand? Silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during your exhalation, and our cerebral cortex could cooperate with our parasympathetic nervous system, which I should have mentioned but failed to. Every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, our parasympathetic nervous system, which is divided between the lower third and the upper third of that same spinal cord, has evolved to support both physical relaxation and mental release. So that was kind of a skewed sequence, and I apologize for that. So, there are 4 primary benefits to playing with mindfulness and meditation every 12 hours or so. The first one is the first one is that mindfulness and meditation help us to skillfully work with literal impermanence and figurative emptiness automatically, just by playing with mindfulness and meditation. So together as a team, let us practice mindfulness and meditation right now. We come now to our second of 4 phases of mindful crease counting. Over the span of 12 inhalations, we could advance our right thumb in the following manner, beginning with our little finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We can multiply this by 8 using the fingers of our left hand to count not individual inhalations, but instead sets of 12 inhalations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Multiply them out and you get 96. So for our second collection of 96 inhalations, we can keep track of it by resting the great knuckle at the base of our right ring finger upon the tip of our left ring finger in our lap, palms up. Doing so helps our real and gently invites our real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce in the navel region of our mid-abdomen. Oh, won't you please chant with me? The translucence of the all-good father and mother depicted in paintings reminds us of meditation's experience of impermanence and non-graspability. Before we explore the second benefit of playing with mindfulness and meditation every 12 hours or so, let us review that the essence of mindfulness is that every time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we automatically notice mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly, which is the essence of mindfulness. Similarly, every time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, we cannot help but release what we noticed during our previous inhalation to the point what we noticed could seem literally impermanent and figuratively as non-graspable as a vast empty void, like the illusion of the infinite azure sky and a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although is tantalizing to the eye, could be non-graspable to the hand. Play with this, and you will find yourself calming the tyranny of your amygdala's anxiety and aggression, thereby undermining the momentum that, if left unattended, could fuel cruel intentions, cruel communication, cruel conduct, and commerce, both competitive as well as cruel. Let's practice. We turn now to the third of 4 phases of mindful crease counting. Over the span of 12 inhalations, we can advance our right thumb in the following manner, beginning with our little finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We can multiply those 12 inhalations by 8 sets for a total of 96 using our left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sets of 12 inhalations each. This third phase of 96 inhalations we could keep track of by resting the great knuckle at the base of our right middle finger, upon the tip of our left middle finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite the real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce in the heart region of our chest. Before we explore, well, let's just jump in. Please chant with me. The beauty of sky blue kuntu zongpo and cloud white kuntu zongpo yam yam reminds us of the highest love, spontaneous and uncontrived. Every time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we cannot help but notice in the vulnerable, passive, visceral, random, and fleeting manner of whatever comes up that is known as mindfulness. As we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, we cannot help but release what it is that we noticed during our previous inhalation, or at least release our resistance to it, or our resistance to the absence of it. This is known as meditation. The third benefit of regularly noticing and releasing is the stimulation of our anterior cingulate gyrus, which functions as the hub of our mirror neurons, the seat of empathy, which is the root of compassion and love. This is exactly why the late Tulku Thondup insisted that the greatest love, the most beneficial love, cannot be forced through focus or analysis, but rather is the spontaneous and uncontrived fringe benefit of our regular practice of mindfulness and meditation. Or in other words, it is mindfulness and meditation that fuel our kind intentions, our kind communication, our kind conduct, and the commerce which is both kind and cooperative. Because, my friends, this is no mean feat, for kindness comprises 50% of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. So together as a team, let us practice the noticing and releasing in coordination with our inhalation and exhalation that are commonly known as mindfulness and meditation. Good morning and welcome to the fourth and final phase of mindful crease counting. Over the span of 12 inhalations, we could advance our right thumb in the following manner, beginning with our little finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We can multiply these 12 inhalations by 8 sets. 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of 12 inhalations each. 5, 6, 7, 8 sets of 12 inhalations each, for a total of 96. We could keep track of this 96th collection of, or this fourth collection of 96 inhalations by resting the great knuckle at the base of our right index finger upon the tip of our left index finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce at the crown of our head. Oh, won't you please chant with me? The stability with which godless Manta Madra sits, and the abandon with which cloud white Manta Madri sports, reminds us of the effortless effort of centered spontaneity. Every time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, our sympathetic nervous system helps us to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. This is known as mindfulness. Every time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, our body could so relax and our mind could so release. All right, let's try this again. Our body could so relax that our mind releases not only that which we noticed during our previous inhalation, but our resistance to it, to its presence, or to its absence. The fourth benefit of so training in mindfulness and meditation is that our choices, utterances, and deeds begin to flow from the effortless effort of love's centered spontaneity. No, not scattered spontaneity, not that so-called good idea we think we have after our 5th shot of espresso, but rather the centered spontaneity that is the effortless byproduct of mindfulness and meditation. So together as a team, let us practice right now. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist philosophy, or Buddhist meditation, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. Excuse me. May we joyfully relax into the perfect imperfections of our Buddha nature. Buddha nature comprised of our sympathetic nervous system's capacity to notice, our parasympathetic nervous system's capacity to release, and our anterior cingulate gyrus's capacity to empathize. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 7 hours or so, I would very much like to return to lead tonight's evening meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.